This poem is called Reticence. In simple silence, wisdom dwells. Like seeping wounds, the proud heart swells. Contemptuous, pretentious flare, its knowledge casts the foulest air. Too lofty for the human mind, pride does leave the wit behind. Assuming all and knowing naught, as though the word came before the thought. The reticent, that fossiled stage, proves sure true wisdom does not age. The wound that ails has banned the rod. True wisdom fails apart from God. The second, whoever calls, it's about prayer. Lord, when I offer up a prayer, I know they just don't linger there, like bubbles floating in the air. You hold them, Lord, with tender care. You answer according to your will, yes or no, yet better still. When calling me by faith to wait, I hope there, I anticipate. Beyond my wishes and my dreams, however wise and good it seems, above all these your answer pours, without, to me, from treasure stores, even more than I can receive. All this because I do believe. Your precious love eternal falls upon the heart of him who calls. The next poem I'm going to do is a poem that I wrote to my daughter while away from her for a long period of time. It's called I Am. I am the sea that colors your eyes, the thought that makes one brow to rise. I am the roundness in your face, which gelled each feature in its place. I am the mold that prepped your frame. I am the first who bore your name. I am the fullness of your lips, the poet in your fingertips. I am the hue that browns your skin, so lightly stained with melanin. I am the vigor in your fight. I am the root that bars your height. I am the strength behind your fears. Your stay, I am the stay in growing years. I am the words of strong advice. I am your path that leads to Christ. I am the power that you exude. I am in your Spartan attitude. I am the heart that makes you brave, the source of all the love you crave. And when you wed, who will you see? Some gentleman who's just like me. I am the one who loves you so. I am the one you still don't know. I am the thing you've never had. My daughter, dear, I am your dad. Thank you. Another one, I often take trips into politics because politics are a very important subject for me, and I try not to delve into party politics or anything like that. I just look at what's right and what's wrong based on what thing God has put in my heart about the subject that I see. So I wrote this one, and it is somewhere. I'll save that for the end. Actually, I'll save that. A little pause for editing. During the time that I spent incarcerated, I had a long period to think about my life, and this is where God really did some of the most amazing things. This is where I believe that my relationship with God was forged in the greatest part. And it was not in a place of freedom, but it was in a brutal place, a place where one would think he would have to depend on God. And I knew that in God's wisdom, his purpose was accomplished, would be accomplished. So I wrote this poem about my experience in prison, and it's called This Brutal Place. I live here in this open cell, 100 more about, all filled with men likewise within, as lonely as without. The days are filled with reckoning, each man his way pursues. Some go alone, as some connect to pine away their blues. We speak no word of why we're here, for that could matter none. Be great or small, we've come here all, whatever we have done. As some continue in their ire, digressing all the more, some find their peace in healing what they find they can restore. It matters less that others may delight in our demise. It takes a man to suffer loss to find the gain of prize. Yet I surmise, in greater awe, the wisdom from the fall may never find its way to some, much less be found in all. For there be some who truly think their mischief ever wise. Though loss may come and ever increase, it never meets their eyes. Regardless, be that as it may, the time for most will end, and destiny must meet us where we rise or else descend. My praise belongs to Christ alone, whose hand has held me close, whose hand did guide and discipline, and both in ample dose. My Lord each day has given grace sufficient for my cross, and so I dare not turn my face when reckoning my loss. For those there is so much to do that should have all been done, but God can heal in everything as well in everyone. My next one is also something that I wrote for my daughter. My intention was to have something that was as close to a fairy tale or a children's story that could be read over and over and over, something that was fun, something that taught a profound lesson about life and about the Creator and our relationship to Him. And it was actually more fun than I thought that it was going to be, because it's literally my favorite poem. I'm going to share this with you, and it's called The Little Seedling. There was a little baby seed, a beauty in its form. He lived inside the farmer's hand, where he felt safe and warm. He didn't know just what he was, to this he paid no mind. A seed's a seed, he dared to say, for he knew not his kind. Most of the time he figured he was where he'd always be. The comfy, cozy farmer's hand was his security. One day the farmer trekked the field with seedling in his hand. As workers toiled and tilled the ground, a massive piece of land. Then suddenly he knelt and stuck a finger in the dirt, and plop went seedling in the ground, and boy, it must have hurt. Now seedling soon felt out of place. His little heart began to race. He cried and cried to plead his case, till dirt was shoveled in his face. The darkness and the cold of earth and grave was now his own. How could the farmer leave me here to die so all alone? The tears he wept had wet him so, as did the soil above. It seemed as though the rains had come, but what had come of love? Hours passed so endlessly, he felt the firm soil packed. The pressure stole his hope of life, and then he heard a crack. His shell was rotting all away. His hope of ever seeing day had come and gone, no more to stay, and little seedling passed away. The stillness of his earthen tomb in silence carried on. The hopeless fate of seedling seemed to fade under the dawn. For days had passed, and it would seem the story soon would end, until abruptly seedling felt himself alive again. But strange enough, he didn't feel the same as long before. His little eyes were opening where floods of light did pour. On focusing, he found himself beneath the farmer's nose. The seedling from the master's hand had turned into a rose. This is the poem on politics, and it's called The Threshing Floor. With connotations interject to be politically correct. Catch words and sound bites, pummel ears, and promise peace to soothe our fears. Where poverty is profit base, and profits must each tier erase. Dictate, seduce, divide, increase, and stifle every cry for peace. A bag of silver pieces buy the death of peace for which we cry. The hands that heal we crucify. We never thought that it would die. We only hope to satiate, with greedy souls to masticate. There can be peace for everyone, but on these terms it must be done. And so it's said, and say no more, the peace we crave is made the whore. There's nothing here worth crying for. No peace survived the threshing floor. And one that I truly enjoy is about nature, which is probably my second most favorite subject to write about. This is called The Green, the Rain, the Sunset. Leaves of grass, like ocean swaying, lapping waves bend to and fro. Neverly the green comes ceasing, cleverly in rhythm flow. Bold and brash, a thunder torrent, sweetened pelts splash hither down. Let the mist of morning blaze, soon return clouds moisten crown. From beneath an awesome glory thither in the storm. Better still the morning after, void of booms, light soft is form. Where the beast of blackened skies have taunted sons and daughters' dreams, given shadows cast by lightning, thunder ruffled, muffled screams. Evermore and always faithful, even after the perilous rain. Lit in gold and purple splendor, rise, return the mist again. And my final one is called The Clay. There in the dust, no sparkling gem, stood I the clay, the form of him. No fragrant flower, no golden sun, stood I the clay, as though undone. So awed to see his crafty skill, to take the void and beautifully fill. But most of all, his precious goal, his love to fill my heart and soul. Thank you.